What's up guys, Derek here with Tap and Turn Gaming, coming at you today with another episode in our top 10 series of secret tech for individual colors and color combinations. So today's color combination, as you can see, will be IZZET, which is blue-red. Now something to say about IZZET is it's a very versatile color pair. It can deal with almost anything very well. There's not much you can throw at blue-red that it can't handle. Red has plenty of removal as well as artifact hate. Blue has bounce and counter spells and a good array of sweepers, as does red have a few sweepers. The only thing they can't really deal with very well is enchantments without using blue's actual just bounce spells. So we're going to go ahead and look at what we picked, why we picked it, talk about the stuff we did put in. So let's take a look at it. So first up we have Blister Coil Weird. Now he's a 1-cost 1/1 weird that says whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Blister Coil Weird gets +1/+1 until end of turn and untap it. Now what's cool about this guy and why he's secret tech is that you can be offensive with him. You can attack with your 1/1, and if they do decide to block him, you can cast a few of your instants that you have in your hand and pump him up real good. And that's cool. He untaps, that's all fine and good. Or let's say you just attack with him and your opponent lets it go through. Okay, that's also fine. And then on their turn they attack you. Now you can cast a couple instants and sorceries to pump him up, and he'll untap and become a blocker. So because he does have that versatility for combat tricks is why we have him on the list. Next up we have Hypersonic Dragon. He's a 5-cost 4/4 dragon with flying and haste, so that's already pretty cool. But he has the backup power of you may cast sorcery spells as though they had flash. So basically turns your sorceries into instants as long as he's out, and that's a pretty powerful ability for the wide array of sorceries that red and blue both have. That really gives you a lot of flexibility to do some pretty nice things. Next up we have IZZET Staticaster. She's pretty cool. I like her. She's a 3-cost 0/3 with flash and haste, and the 0/3 body is pretty nice. I mean, she's not going to take anybody out in combat. But she can block a 1/1, a 2/2. You know, that's not bad at all. What really makes her nice is her ability, and that is IZZET Staticaster deals 1 damage to target creature and each other creature with the same name as that creature. So she lets you just nuke tokens. She's very similar to the Boros card with Radiance who does that. Wojek something or other, I forget his name at the moment, but there's a Boros card that does a very similar ability because of Radiance. But this, all they have to do is has a bunch of saprolings, take them all out. Someone has a bunch of goblins, take them all out. And what's nice about her is the flash and haste, so you can do it in response to something else. So if someone has like a mountain of goblin 1/1s, and they go ahead and they cast, say, Goblin Chieftain, and now you know that those goblins are going to get the +1/+1 to become 2/2s, you can then instead flash her in, tap her for the damage to the goblins, take them all out before the 1/1 actually hits the board. The +1/+1 actually hits the board. So because of that is why we have her in here. Then we have Marques's Smuggler. This guy's pretty cool. I like him a lot. He's a 2-cost 1/1 with Dethrone. So Dethrone is whenever it attacks the player with the highest life total, it gets a +1/+1 counter. And that's actually before the damage. As soon as you attack the highest player with the life total, he gets that +1/+1 counter. So as soon as you turn him sideways to the player with the highest life total, he becomes a 2/2. That's not bad at all, because then he becomes a 3/3, a 4/4, 5/5, whatever. Until you are now the player with the highest life total. But the reason I put him on the list is because of his secondary ability, which is for 3 mana, a colorless, a blue and a red. Target creature you control gains haste until end of turn and can't be blocked this turn. So those are 2 very, very nice abilities. You know, you have this guy down the board, you drop a huge fatty, and you can just go ahead and make him unblockable and swing. I mean, you could have this down, drop a Blightsteel Colossus, and win. So, you know, he just has some really, really cool aggression potential. Next up we have some instants. First up we have Brutal Expulsion. This is a rather new card. It's a rare, but I still like it, and I felt it should be on our secret tech list. So this is a 4-cost 2 blue and a red instant with Devoid, so technically it's colorless. And it says choose one or both. Return target spell or creature to its owner's hand, and or Brutal Expulsion deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If that permanent will be put into a graveyard this turn, exile it instead. So this card is really, I think, pretty phenomenal for what it does. I mean, it does cost 4, but it is instant speed, and because it's devoid and it has no actual color, you can get around protection from red and protection from blue, and that's pretty powerful on its own. But also where it says return target spell to its owner's hand, target spell or creature to its owner's hand, makes it very similar to Venser, Shaper, Savant, where you can flash him in and more or less counter a spell. That's more or less what this allows you to do, is counter a spell and put it back in their hand, almost like remand a spell without you drawing the card, because when they go to cast, say, a Genesis Wave, you counter it, or no, I shouldn't say counter it, you respond to it with the Brutal Expulsion, and you return that spell to their hand. They've already paid the mana for it, it just goes back to their hand and doesn't resolve, and what makes that powerful is you more or less countered it, and that's pretty cool. And that second ability is Brutal Expulsion, deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker, and if it would die this turn, you exile it instead. You can also use this in response to something that's going to die anyways. If you attack with a 5/5 and you hit their planeswalker and their planeswalker is going to die, you can instead hit it with this and it's going to exile. So because of the versatility for what this can do and how you can really play with this card is why we have it on the list. Next up we have Prophetic Bolt. I like this card partly for the art. I think it has very, very nice art. But what it does is also not bad at all. It's a 5-cost instant that says Prophetic Bolt, deals 4 damage to target creature or player. Look at the top 4 cards of your library, put one of those into your hand, and put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So one of the things I said about making blue-red so powerful is what they can do. Blue-red is good at direct damage, sweepers. What else we have? They card draw from blue, counterspell from blue, bounce from blue. There's a lot of things they do well, and a spell like Prophetic Bolt really hits both of those. It deals the 4 damage on the red side for the direct damage, as well as gives you sort of like a Fate Seal 4, where you can look at the top 4 cards of your library. You put one of those into your hand, any one of those 4 cards goes into your hand, and then the other 3 just go on the bottom of your library. So not only did you deal 4 damage, you got a card, but you also took 3 cards that you maybe didn't want at the time and put them on the bottom of your library. So now your next draw is your 5th card deep. And that's a pretty cool thing to have in there. It lets you cycle through your cards a little faster. And then we have Turn and Burn. Now, I like this card. It's pretty cool. It says the blue side is target creature loses all abilities and becomes an 0/1 weird until end of turn. And the burn side is burn deals 2 damage to target creature or player. So for 5 mana, you get to do both. What makes this a powerful spell is that it's an instant, so both sides are instant, obviously, but just how you can go ahead and throw out either side for combat tricks. If your opponent attacks you with just 2 big guys, turn one of them into an 0/1 and block with one of your 1/1s. Now it dies, that's cool. And then they're attacking you with, say, even like a 4/4. You block their 4/4 with your 2/2, deal the 2 damage from the burn side to their creature, and you've now, more or less 2-for-1 them, and that's not bad at all. Or you could do both to one creature. You could make it an 0/1 creature and then deal 2 damage to it. It has a lot of versatility. Its ability to do combat tricks and just really be able to treat it how you want it is what makes this a tech card for us. Next up we have Blast of Genius. This is a 6-cost card, and it says choose target creature or player, draw 3 cards, then discard a card. Blast of Genius deals damage equal to the discarded card's converted mana cost to that creature or player. I just like this because it lets you sculpt your hand a little bit. When you draw the 3 cards, you choose which card to discard. It's not at random. So if you need like a 2/2 dead, discard a 2 mana card. If you need to do 10 damage to your opponent, discard a Kozilek or something and deal 10 damage to your opponent. It has a lot of versatility. Now, its versatility is based solely on how good your hand is or from the card you draw, which can be unreliable at times. But if you're making use of scry and things like that, you know which card you may be drawing, and this card can just bring a lot of value to the table. And our last card is going to be Teleportal. Now, this is a 2-cost sorcery. That says target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn, and it's unblockable this turn. Sweet. So you just gave your guy +1/+0 and unblockable. That's fun. Or you could overload it for 5 and go ahead and give your entire team +1/+0 and unblockable. And this is another card just for its sheer versatility. The fact that you can go with one guy unblockable and maybe win, or you can go with all your guys unblockable and Alpha Strike. And I mean, this is just a fun card, really. I like it. I like what it does. I like how it does it. That's why I played in my IZZET deck, my personal IZZET deck. I just really like the card. So this is our top 10 secret tech for IZZET. I'll go over the cards again. We had Blister, Coil, Weird, Hypersonic Dragon, IZZET Static Aster, Marquesa Smuggler, Knuckle, Brutal Expulsion, Prophetic Bolt, Turn and Burn, Blast of Genius, and Teleportal. So that's it for our top 10 list. This has been Derek with Tap and Turn Gaming. Please like, comment, subscribe, and tune in for more videos. Thanks a lot, and goodbye.